The sound of hissing air filled the dark chamber. Elias Ward opened his eyes for the first time in what felt like centuries. He was lying inside a transparent pod filled with mist. The lid slid back with a slow mechanical groan. Cold vapors drifted over his face and arms. His breath came out as fog. His heart beat harder, faster, as the room's bright white lights flickered on. He pushed himself up. His arms looked human, but thicker, heavier, and faintly marked with lines of silver under the skin. He stared at his own hands, remembering faint flashes of a hospital, of wires, of promises. Then nothing. His head hurt with old memories. A tall woman in a white coat entered the room. Her eyes were sharp and her smile cold but confident. "Welcome back, Elias," she said. "You were asleep for a long time." He knew that voice. Dr. Seraphine Kale, the scientist, the one who had called him her ugliest experiment years ago. The memory made his stomach twist. "Why am I awake?" His voice was deep, almost echoing. "I thought you said I was a failure." Kale stepped closer, her boots making soft clicks on the metal floor. "We have a situation. The station needs you." Elias blinked, looking around. Through the glass walls of the lab, he could see stars and a giant, dying sun outside. The station was larger than he remembered. Hundreds of lights glowed in its corridors like distant ships. "What station is this?" he asked. "Aurelia Prime," Kale replied. "My station, our station, the place where you were born again." Elias stepped out of the pod. His bare feet touched the cold steel floor. He felt strange, stronger than before, yet tired. His senses sharpened. He could hear heartbeats from beyond the room, smell the metallic tang of the air, and sense the tension in Kale's body like a vibration. "I don't want to be here," he said. "I volunteered to protect my country, not to become whatever this is." "You are not a failure," Kyle said. "You are my masterpiece, the only one who can stop what is coming." "What's coming?" Kyle's lips tightened. "A threat we created. A runaway experiment. It's killing my crew. It's smart. It hides in the station's dark corners. But it cannot hide from you." Elias stared at her. He remembered waking up in the dark years ago, needles in his skin, her calling him a mistake. He remembered wanting to run away. "Why should I help you?" he asked. "Because if you don't, everyone aboard will die," Kale said quietly. "And because you and it are connected." Her words made his chest feel heavy. Connected. He didn't like the sound of that. They walked through the corridor together. The station hummed with a deep mechanical pulse. Lights glowed overhead like artificial stars. Crew members passed by, staring at Elias with a mix of fear and curiosity. He caught their whispers. "That's him, the frozen soldier, the hybrid." He kept his eyes down. His reflection in the polished floor looked almost human, but not quite. His shoulders were broader. His pupils glowed faintly under the harsh lights. He could hear electrical currents behind the walls. Commander Imani Voss waited at the end of the hall. She was a tall woman in a navy blue uniform, her dark hair tied back, her face lined with fatigue. She gave Kyle a hard look, then turned to Elias. "I'm Commander Voss," she said. "I'm in charge of station security. You're here to help us?" Elias hesitated. "I don't know yet." Kale frowned but said nothing. Voss's eyes softened. "We're not all like her," she said quietly. "Some of us still think of you as human." Elias almost smiled but didn't. He didn't feel human, not here. Not after everything. Kale led him to an observation room. A large screen showed grainy camera footage from the maintenance corridors. A dark shape moved between pipes and shadows, almost like liquid metal, almost like an animal. The crew's sensors could not track it. "It escaped last month," Kale explained. "We tried to contain it. It adapted. It learned." Elias watched the footage. Something inside him stirred. A flicker of recognition, like a word on the tip of his tongue. "What is it?" he asked. "A prototype," Kale said. "Born from your DNA." Elias turned to her, anger rising. You made another one? I had to, Kale said. You were supposed to be the first of many, but only you and it survived. You are connected. He wanted to shout, but instead he closed his eyes. He could feel something out there. A faint pulse, a strange echo in his mind, like another heartbeat but not his own. I can feel it, he whispered. Kale's eyes lit up with excitement. Good, that's why you're awake. They gave Elias a small living unit. The walls were smooth white. The bed was neat and square. There was no window, only a small screen showing the starfield outside. He sat on the edge of the bed, staring at his hands. In the silence, the pulse came again, faint but real, a sense of being watched from far away, a sense of hunger. He clenched his fists. A soft voice spoke from the ceiling. You're awake now. He looked up. Who's there? I am Argus. The station's AI said. I oversee life support, navigation, and surveillance. I have been watching you for years. Elias frowned. Why? To understand you, Argus said simply. You are different. You survived where others did not. I'm not a hero, Elias said. I'm a mistake. Perhaps, Argus said, but mistakes can still save lives. Elias lay back on the bed. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The bed felt too small for his heavy body. The ceiling felt too low. He felt trapped all over again. Hours passed. He closed his eyes. In his dreams, he saw corridors full of pipes, saw claws scraping against steel, saw a shape crouched in the dark. He saw glowing eyes looking back at him, eyes like his own. He woke with a gasp. The pulse in his head was stronger now. He sat up. The room's screen flickered. For a moment, instead of stars, he saw a message written in shaky letters. Help me, brother. His heart jumped. No, he whispered. He slammed the control panel, calling Kyle. She answered in seconds, her face pale but calm. What is it? She asked. It's calling to me, Elias said. Your experiment. It's calling me brother. Kyle's eyes flickered with something, fear or excitement, he couldn't tell. Good, she said at last. Then it's working. Elias turned off the screen. He looked at his hands again. He didn't want to be part of this. He didn't want to hunt something that might be family. But he also knew people were dying. He stood up and walked to the door. The corridor outside was empty and silent. For a moment, he imagined himself walking all the way to an airlock, stealing a shuttle, and disappearing into space. But even if he escaped, the pulse in his head would follow him. He touched the cold metal wall. It hummed back at him like a living thing. I'm not your weapon, he whispered. Not anymore. But deep down, he wasn't sure if that was true. Cliffhanger. Far away in the station's maintenance corridors, the creature crouched in the dark. It tilted its head as if listening to a distant signal. Its claws tapped the steel floor in a slow, patient rhythm. Its glowing eyes narrowed. It whispered only one word into the shadows. Brother. The corridors of Aurelia Prime were quiet. Almost too quiet. Elias walked beside Dr. Kale, his boots echoing against the steel floor. His mind raced. He could feel the creature nearby, not through sight or sound, but through something deeper. A faint vibration like a heartbeat in his chest that did not belong to him. Kale's face was calm, but Elias noticed the tension in her shoulders. It is smart, she said. Too smart. Only you can sense it because you share its DNA. You are connected. Elias clenched his fists. He had heard this before. She had once called him her ugliest experiment. A failure, and now she called him a connection, a bridge to another life. The words twisted inside him. I am not your bridge, he said. And I am not your soldier. I'm leaving this station the first chance I get. Kyle's eyes darkened. You won't leave. Not until it's contained. Not until it's stopped. Elias wanted to argue, but a sudden movement in the corner of his vision froze him. Something slid along the wall, sleek and black, almost liquid. The creature. Its shape changed constantly, never staying the same, but its eyes glowed bright blue, the same color as his own. It moved like a shadow, silent, graceful, yet powerful. His pulse quickened. The creature paused, sniffing the air as if it sensed him, as if it remembered him. Elias took a careful step back. "It's alive," he said. "Yes," Kyle replied softly, "and it remembers you." They entered the observation room. A wide screen showed live footage from the maintenance corridors. The creature moved with terrifying intelligence, avoiding cameras and sensors. It could open doors, disable lights, and even manipulate the station's environmental controls. Elias leaned closer. He saw the way it paused in front of a ventilation shaft, its eyes scanning the cameras. Then it suddenly darted away, faster than any human could move. Kale's fingers tapped the console nervously. "We have tried to contain it for weeks. It kills anything that comes too close. It adapts, it learns. Only you can anticipate its moves." Elias's mind raced. The creature wasn't just strong. It was clever. And something about it felt familiar. He could feel its heartbeat echoing in his chest. His DNA whispered to him, telling him it was not an enemy, but maybe a victim, like him. "Why did you make it?" Elias asked, trying to control the anger rising in his chest. Kyle hesitated. Her eyes flicked to the screen. "Because you were supposed to be perfect. The first step in a new generation of soldiers. I needed a control, something to compare you against. You and it were supposed to be brothers in purpose." Elias stared at her. "Brothers? You're insane." "I'm a scientist," Kyle said firmly, "and sometimes scientists must do things the world will need." Elias paced the small living unit Kale had assigned to him. The bed was neat, sterile, and uncomfortable. The walls were white, smooth, and unyielding, reflecting the cold light of the station. Every surface reminded him that he was still inside her domain. Even free in the corridors, he felt caged. Kale had made this room a trap of comfort, a place where she could watch him while keeping him isolated. He clenched his fists, feeling the silver lines beneath his skin pulse. His enhanced senses twitched at every sound. The hum of the station, the distant echo of air vents, the faint footsteps of a security crew passing by. He wanted to escape, yet every step outside Kale's control reminded him of the creature waiting in the shadows, his sibling, his counterpart. A soft hiss of the door opening made him spin around. Kale entered carrying a small tray of food. Her presence filled the room, her eyes cold but calculating. "Eat," she said. "You will need your strength. The creature grows bolder every hour. If we are to contain it, you must be ready." Elias ignored the tray. "I am not here to feed your experiments. I am not your tool." Kale set the tray down carefully. "You were never just a tool," she said. "You are my masterpiece. I gave you life beyond ordinary humans, and now I need you to save the crew." "I don't care about saving your crew if it means becoming your puppet," Elias snapped. Kale's eyes softened slightly, but a steel edge remained. "You misunderstand me. I don't want to control you. I only want to guide you. You and the creature, connected by blood and design, can end this, but you must stay here until we act." Elias shook his head. "Stay here? You call this a cell?" Kyle leaned closer, lowering her voice. "It is a sanctuary. You are precious. You are dangerous. You must not risk yourself." "Not yet," Elias stared at her. He realized her words were both protection and control, a chain disguised as concern. Hours passed. Elias could not sleep. He sat by the wall, his eyes closed, letting his senses reach out. The pulse of the creature was faint but insistent, tugging at his mind. He could feel its hesitation, its fear, its longing. It was calling him. A sudden chime sounded from the ceiling. Argus, the station's AI, spoke. Its calm voice filled the room. "Elias, I have gathered information about Kale's private labs," it said. "She has hidden facilities where experiments like you and your sibling are replicated. She intends to make more." Elias's eyes narrowed. "More like me? More like it?" "Yes," Argus said. "She intends to create an army. She sees you and the creature as the first of a new generation of soldiers. You were a test. And now she plans to expand. Elias stood. Rage bubbled within him. I will not let her do that. I won't let her create more like me. More like it. They will suffer. Then you must be careful, Argus replied. She watches everything. She has ways to control you. Any attempt to leave without caution could endanger both you and the creature. Elias sat back down, his fists clenched. He realized that Kale's control was deeper than he thought. The bed, the room, the small comforts, they were all a trap. She wanted him close, contained, ready to obey. The next day, Kale entered the room again, smiling faintly. I have prepared a training session for you. You must learn to anticipate the creature's movements, Elias refused. I do not obey your orders. I am not a toy. Kale's smile did not falter. You misunderstand again. This is not obedience. This is preparation. You cannot help the crew or yourself if you are untrained. Elias wanted to refuse, but Kale's presence pressed down on him like a weight. He felt the tension in his muscles, the pull of his enhancements, the drive to act, but not for her, for himself. Fine, he said at last, voice low. But I follow my rules. Kale's eyes brightened. Good. You are learning to think like your sibling. The creature will respect that, and it will respond to you. Training was grueling. Kale simulated attacks, showing holographic projections of the creature moving through the corridors. Elias studied every movement, every pause, every calculated step. He noticed patterns, behaviors that suggested fear, hesitation, and intelligence. He began to see the creature not as a monster, but as a living being trying to survive. As he trained, he felt a subtle pull in his mind. The familiar pulse of the creature, the sense that it was reaching out, watching him, testing him. He wondered if it felt the same frustration, the same longing to break free. You are ready, Kale said after hours of practice. Tomorrow you will go to the maintenance corridors. You will face it. Elias looked at her. I am not yours to send anywhere. I go because I choose to, not because you command it. Kale's eyes held a mixture of irritation and respect. Very well. Choice is yours, but remember it is dangerous, and it will judge your intentions. That night Elias could not sleep. The corridors called him. The pulse grew stronger. He moved quietly through the station, careful to avoid the security teams. Every shadow, every flicker of light felt alive. He sensed the creature ahead, waiting, cautious but curious. Finally, he reached a junction in the maintenance corridors. The air was thick with the hum of machinery. Then from the shadows a shape emerged. The creature. Its body flowed like liquid metal, its eyes glowing brightly. Elias froze. It stepped forward slowly, tilting its head. Its gaze met his, and he felt a connection deeper than blood. Brother, it whispered in his mind. Elias's chest tightened. I am not your enemy, he said softly. The creature paused. Then in a single fluid motion, it circled him, scanning, testing, observing. Elias did not flinch. He held its gaze. Slowly, the creature's movements relaxed. It hissed softly, a sound of recognition, of trust, of relief. You understand, Elias whispered. You're not alone. The creature crouched low, studying him. Its pulse synced with his own. He could feel its fear, its intelligence, and its longing for freedom. For a moment, time seemed to pause, and he realized that Kale's words had been both warning and truth. The creature was dangerous, but it was also capable of thought, of choice, of connection. Suddenly, a warning alarm blared. Security teams were nearby. The creature froze, then darted into the shadows, leaving only a faint hum in the pipes. Elias followed carefully, his senses sharp. He knew he had to reach it before Kale or the crews forced it into conflict. Back in his unit, Kale awaited him, calm but watchful. You are learning, she said. Soon you will face it fully. But remember, Elias, it is still unpredictable. It may choose to fight. It may choose to flee. You must be ready for either. Elias looked at her, finally seeing the truth. Her control was real, but so was his will. He would face the creature, yes, but on his terms, not hers. He sat on the bed, staring at the ceiling. The pulse in his chest grew stronger, resonating with the pulse of the creature somewhere in the station. For the first time, he felt hope. Not hope for Kale's plans, not hope for the station, but hope for a bond he could understand and protect. Cliffhanger. In the darkness of the maintenance corridors, the creature whispered again, its voice an echo in the steel. Brother, you are close. Do not let them stop you. The station hummed like a living creature. its metal walls resonating with the distant pulse of engines. Elias moved through the corridors with careful steps, his enhanced senses alert to every vibration, every whisper of sound. He could feel the creature close, its heartbeat echoing faintly in his mind. It was waiting for him, testing him, calling him forward. Kale had assigned him to track it, but Elias knew the truth. He would not follow her orders blindly. He needed to understand the creature, to connect with it, not to use it as a weapon. And he knew Kale would not like that. As he approached the junction where he had first seen his sibling, a sudden shiver ran through the station. The lights flickered, and a low mechanical groan echoed from the maintenance shafts. The creature was moving, faster now, its presence growing more urgent. Elias whispered under his breath, "I am coming. I will find you." Meanwhile, Kale watched from her control room, eyes sharp behind her glass. She tapped her fingers on the console, calculating, predicting. "It senses him," she muttered. "Good. He will need guidance. Only I can give it to him." She did not know that Elias had already begun to act on his own, relying on intuition in his bond with the creature. Argus, the station's AI, silently observed both of them. Its circuits pulsed with a strange empathy. It had begun to understand Elias in ways Kale never could. "Elias," Argus's calm voice echoed in his mind. "Be careful. Kale's plans go beyond containment. She intends to replicate both of you, an army of hybrids. You must stop her before more suffer." Elias clenched his fists. "I know," he replied. "I won't let her do that, not now. Not ever." He entered the maintenance corridors, moving quietly among the pipes and conduits. Shadows danced along the walls as emergency lights flickered. His pulse synced with the creature's, a rhythm that guided him forward. Every step brought him closer to the truth, closer to the being he considered family. Suddenly he heard a sound, a low scraping, the echo of metal against metal. The creature emerged from the shadows, sleek, flowing, its eyes glowing brightly. Elias froze, holding out his hands. "I am not your enemy," he whispered. The creature paused, studying him, its body coiling like liquid metal. Then slowly it approached. Its steps were careful, deliberate, as though testing him, measuring his intentions. Elias held his ground, allowing it to sense his calm, his resolve. "You understand?" he said softly. "We are alike. You are not alone." The creature tilted its. The station vibrated with tension. Elias crouched in the maintenance corridors, his enhanced senses reaching out, scanning every shadow. The creature moved silently beside him, its sleek body coiling and flowing like liquid metal. They were partners now, united not by Kale's plans but by trust, by survival, and by choice. "Stay close," Elias whispered. "We cannot risk splitting up." "Not yet," the creature hissed softly, a sound of acknowledgement, and mirrored his movements. Together they moved like shadows through the dimly lit corridors, avoiding patrols and automated defenses. The station's hum was a constant reminder of their vulnerability. Every creak of metal, every flicker of light set their instincts on edge. Kale watched from her control room, her fingers flying over the console. "Elias cannot defy me forever," she muttered. "He will learn that freedom comes at a cost. He will see that he cannot protect the creature without consequences." Her eyes were sharp, calculating. She activated security drones, sending them silently through the station. Each one was equipped with sensors to detect the faint energy signature of the creature. Kale leaned back in her chair, satisfied, or so she thought. Elias sensed the drones before he saw them. Their mechanical hum vibrated through the walls and the creature's pulse quickened. Elias pressed a hand to its flowing form, soothing, steadying. "We can do this," he whispered. "We will not be trapped." They moved deeper into the station, toward the lower decks where Kyle had built secret labs. Elias's mind raced. He knew the labs were not just storage for dangerous experiments. They were places where Kale planned to create more like them. More hybrids. More creatures trapped and used as weapons. "We stop her here," he said softly. The creature tilted its head, sensing his determination. Together they approached a reinforced door, sealed with energy locks and guarded by 2 security drones. Elias crouched low. "I will distract them," he whispered. "You get inside." The creature pulsed with energy, coiling tightly, ready to respond. Elias sprinted from the shadows, throwing his weight against the first drone. Sparks flew as metal clashed with enhanced strength. The second drone activated, scanning for his energy signature. But the creature surged forward, slipping past its sensors. Flowing through the corridor with precision, Elias dodged, rolled, and struck again. The drone sparked and fell silent. He breathed heavily, adrenaline pumping, knowing they had only moments before more security arrived. Inside the lab, the creature scanned quickly, identifying containment units filled with genetic experiments. Some were fully grown, others still developing. Elias's chest tightened. Each one reminded him of himself, of the creature, of the lives that could be ruined by Kale's obsession. He touched one of the units. The faint hum of life inside it vibrated through his fingers. "We cannot let this happen," he whispered. "Not to any of you." The creature pulsed beside him, scanning the room, understanding his intent. They were not just breaking Kale's control, they were breaking the cycle. They would free the innocents trapped in this place. Meanwhile, Kale was not idle. She activated the station's lockdown. Doors slammed, lights flickered, and alarms blared. "Elias, stop this!" she shouted over the comms. "You do not understand the consequences." Elias ignored her. He moved swiftly, guided by instinct and the creature's pulses. Together, they disabled energy locks, bypassed automated security, and freed the experiments from their pods. The creatures inside stirred, sensing freedom, hissing softly as they emerged. The lab was a flurry of movement. Elias felt the pulse of life around him, the creature beside him guiding, protecting, and teaching. For the first time, he understood the true scope of Kale's ambition and the stakes of their rebellion. Kale appeared at the doorway, her white coat flaring. "You cannot win," she shouted. "This station is mine." "You belong here, Elias." Elias turned, standing tall beside the creature. "We belong to ourselves," he said, voice firm. "We choose." "Not you." The creature hissed and flowed forward, a living shadow moving with precision and power. Kyle faltered for a moment, realizing her drones and defenses were useless against this bond, against this unity. Elias felt a surge of hope. They moved as one, freeing more experiments, guiding them to hidden corridors leading outside the main station decks. Elias noticed the creature's pulses synchronizing, forming a network of life, strength, and awareness. Kale's control was slipping. Her obsession could not override the connection he shared with the creature. Security teams arrived, weapons drawn. "Stop them!" a voice barked. Elias clenched his fists. "We are not your enemies," he said. "We are stopping someone who would make you our enemies." The creature surged forward, blocking the path of soldiers without harming them. Elias followed, using his enhanced strength to disable mechanical traps and doors. His every move was precise, controlled, protective. They could not fight the humans, they would only guide them. Kyle screamed, frustration and fear twisting her voice. "Elias, you are mine." "You will obey." Elias ignored her, guiding the creatures and the humans safely through the station. Every step forward was a defiance of her control, a rejection of her obsession. They moved as a unit, unstoppable, united by trust and choice. Finally, they reached the edge of the station near the external docking bays. The creatures hesitated, sensing the vacuum beyond the walls. Elias extended a hand, reassuring. "We are free," he whispered. "We choose our path." The creatures surged forward, moving into protective pods and smaller shuttles, guided by Elias and the creature. Kale's voice was distant now, filled with disbelief and rage. But she could not stop them, not now. Not when choice and connection had overtaken control. Elias took a deep breath, feeling the pulse of life around him. The creatures, the station, the bond with the creature beside him. For the first time, he felt truly alive. Powerful not because of Kale's enhancements, but because of his choices, his courage, and his empathy. As the shuttles departed the station, Elias and the creatures stood together in the docking bay. The stars stretched endlessly outside, a canvas of freedom. They had defied Kale, broken her chains, and protected the innocents who had been trapped. Elias looked at the creature, his sibling, his partner. "We did it," he whispered. The creature pulsed, flowing beside him, a silent affirmation. They had faced control, danger, and obsession, and they had emerged stronger, united. From the shadows, Kale watched on the security screens, fury burning in her eyes. But even she could not deny what had happened. Her control was broken. Elias and the creature had chosen their path, and no obsession could force them back. Elias knew their journey was not over. The station was still dangerous, still under Kale's command. But he had learned something vital. Strength was not in obedience, not in control, not in fear. True strength lay in choice, in courage, and in connection. He placed a hand on the creature's flowing form. "We are not alone," he whispered. "We will protect them, and we will protect each other." The pulse in his chest synchronized with the creature's, a steady rhythm of life, trust, and hope. Together they stepped into the stars, ready for whatever challenges awaited them. Cliffhanger. Far above the station, a hidden pod launched silently, carrying Kale's newest creation. Its eyes glowed faintly in the dark, aware, waiting, and ready. The void of space stretched endlessly beyond the station's hull, a silent witness to the chaos that had unfolded within. Elias floated in a small maintenance bay, tethered only by the sense of purpose that guided him. The creature hovered beside him, its sleek form shimmering like liquid metal, eyes glowing softly in the dim light. Together they had defied Kale, liberated the other experiments, and claimed the freedom she had denied them. But freedom was not without its dangers. The station still held secrets, and Kale's obsession had not vanished. Elias knew she would attempt to reclaim her creations, and he could not allow that. His responsibility had grown far beyond himself. He was now protector, guide, and beacon of hope for those who could not defend themselves. "Argus," the station's AI spoke calmly through the comm systems. "Elias, Kale is aware of your actions. She is preparing a countermeasure. Sensors indicate a hidden pod in the upper docks. It may contain a new hybrid experiment." Elias clenched his fists. "Then we stop it, together." He glanced at the creature. Its glowing eyes reflected determination, an unspoken understanding passing between them. They were no longer simply master and experiment, they were partners, equals, united by choice, courage, and empathy. Navigating the upper docks, they moved swiftly, avoiding security drones that still patrolled the halls. The pod was hidden behind a reinforced shield, nearly invisible to standard scans. Elias approached it carefully, sensing a faint pulse of life inside. This was Kale's latest creation, a hybrid aware and waiting. The creature beside him hissed softly, moving in protective coils around him. Elias raised a hand to the pod's interface. "We are not your enemies," he said. "You are free to choose. We will not hurt you." The pod hissed, lights flickering, and then slowly opened. Inside was a smaller being, shimmering like the creature beside him. Its eyes glowed faintly, curious yet cautious. Elias stepped back, letting the hybrid decide its path. It looked between him and the creature, then slowly emerged, pulsing gently, mirroring the rhythm of Elias's heartbeat. "Welcome," Elias whispered. "You are free now." Kyle's voice echoed through the station.